What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers are already having reports come out on them re-engaging with the Charlotte Hornets on a potential Mark Williams trade. Now, I'm sure most, if not all of you are aware, Lakers traded for Mark Williams around the trade deadline, ended up nixing the trade because he failed physical. Now, it wasn't the issues that he was known for. Supposedly it was other stuff. Still debates about, like, was the Lakers just get cold feet and feel like they overpaid, or, was it something where, hey, no, this was real. Whatever side of the fence you're on, doesn't really matter. Got nixed either way, and chances are the Lakers are going to at least do their due diligence. Now, I know some people are going to be like, hey, Charlotte would never trade Mark Williams to the Lakers again because of what happened. Don't be shocked. Teams don't it tanked Mark Williams' value, but what was Mark Williams' value prior, right? Like, how many other teams were willing to pony up with the Lakers? Like, everyone was kind of like the Lakers overpaid, right? It was justified and it was understandable given the circumstances, but they weren't going to get that type of return, more likely than not, from anyone else, especially with his injury history. And then on top of that, teams don't care. It's a business. If they feel like they're getting the deal, then they're going to make the move, right? If other teams aren't willing to offer what the Lakers are willing to offer, they're going to make the move. Charlotte is expected to potentially look to trade him this offseason, reports say that they will look to trade him this offseason, which I think is kind of funny because, after the trade got nixed, it was like, he's our guy. He's the guy. We never even wanted to trade him to begin with, but you know what? We had no choice. And now fast forward, all of a sudden they're trying to trade him again. But again, if you're the Lakers, look, you should have no shame. You should pick up the phone and see if you can go get Mark Williams, especially for a cheaper price. Also, supposedly they really wanted Dalton Connect. They really liked Dalton Connect a lot. And they're probably going to draft a center in this draft, just based on where their draft slot is. So we'll see. Time will tell. Obviously, a lot of things could happen, but that could, again, potentially open up what could happen for a path for the Lakers to trade for Mark Williams. So we'll see. Time will tell. But look, I would like to have Mark Williams. I'm not against Mark Williams. There's questions about his defense, obviously, because that was the big thing. He's not really a defensive center. But he's shown the ability. He's shown the defensive capabilities. It's really hard to be good defensively when you're down 20 every night and you're tanking for the bottom, right? It's hard to be like, I'm on one of the worst teams in basketball every single year. We're getting smacked more often than not. No one's playing defense, and you want me to be the best defensive anchor in the league. It just doesn't make any sense. Eventually you start realizing, all right, we want to lose anyway, so why am I going to overexert myself and maybe end up getting hurt again and this, that, and the other, right? So I don't great example is PJ Washington, right? PJ Washington wasn't looked at as a defensive player. People looked at PJ Washington like he was just, he's a good offensive player, right? And then he went to Dallas and was literally their defensive anchor. He was incredible defensively for him. Still is, right? He was it was like, wow, where did this come from? Where did this guy come from? When did he become a defensive monster, right? And again, it's different when you go to a team in which instead of tanking for the bottom, you're trying to rise to the top. Right? It's very different when the games now are meaningful and you're in those games and, guys are playing defense and guys are locking. It's just different. Right, the games are more important. They're more impactful, right? So you're more willing to defend. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Anthony Davis defensively. I'm not saying he's going to be elite. But don't be shocked if the Lakers were to land Mark Williams this offseason, if all of a sudden he magically is a good defender and he's actually defending his. He has all the tools. He has the athleticism. He has the foot speed. He moves well, right? He's a guy that can, at least on the surface, should be able to defend in space, defend and protect the rim, and do all those things. We'll see. Time will tell. But he's ideal, right? You talk about a big man that is able to create for himself, create a little bit for others. He's shown a little bit of the ability to stretch the floor. Definitely something that needs working on. He's 23 years old, right? He's young enough. He'll be 24 in December, right? So going into next season, right, 2 months in, right, he would be 24 years old. So he's still very young, a lot of upside, a lot of potential on that front, right? And he's a guy that I do think makes a lot of sense for Lakers. He wouldn't, the beauty of him, and look, I have said, and I still stand by, like, the Lakers, I don't think necessarily need a skilled big like Mark Williams, right? You just need somebody that can you rebound, can you defend, right? And can you be a lob threat? You give me those things, we're good, right? Like, that's really all they need. But it still would be nice to have, right? Like, I've talked about it. Like, to me, compared to like a cherry on top, right? I love cherries, right? Give me that cherry on top if you can get it. If you can give me a center that gives you everything, then yeah, of course, right? But, I don't think it's like you have to sell the farm in order to go get that. Right? If you can get Mark Williams for the right price, if you can get Mark Williams to where it makes sense for the Lakers, and now, you're, ponying up whatever you're ponying up, and then he's coming in. I like the idea of having a guy that's not reliant on Luka, right? Or not reliant on LeBron, that you could just dump the ball down to and he can go to work and he can create for himself, again, create a little bit for others, right? But at any point, life is going to be so much easier because he's not going to have to do that possession after possession after possession after possession, because he's going to have Luka and LeBron creating for him and giving him easy looks and opportunities. He's just got to be able to hit his spots and do what he needs to do, right? The other thing, too, is, the Lakers, more likely than not, would probably give him another physical and run him through it. He had time, right? Like, at the trade deadline, that was, 4 months ago now, right? Like, when this happened. So, a lot could change. And now he's had time to, rest and recoup. So, it's very possible that the Lakers and the Hornets re-engage in this. Lakers are, of course, going to do their due diligence again, evaluate him, and everything might come back fine, right? And the reason I want to mention that is because I know people would be like, oh, see, look, the Lakers are just playing around. It's like, no, like, a lot changes in 4 months, right? Like, if you don't think things heal, you don't think things, like, get better, right? Like, so don't be shocked if, like, the Lakers do end up pulling this off. They end up evaluating him and he's, like, fine, right? The tests come back fine, right? Like, I think that's probably likely. But, again, it's also possible that they don't, because the issue wasn't the things that, like his knee and his back and stuff like that. It was more of like, there's long-term lingering issues that they're concerned about that could affect him long-term, right? So, that could still be there, and those issues could still be there. But he did play the rest of the games from that moment till the end of the season. Part of that, I think, was just he wanted to kind of prove himself, right? But and kind of change the narrative. But it is something worth noting that, like, hey, he was healthy towards the back end, which was good, right? That's what you want to see. But what does he provide, right? This is a guy that also, is a 15 and 10 center, has shown the ability to be a 20 and 10 center without Luka and LeBron James. Imagine what he'd have with Luka and LeBron James. I think he could be a 22 to 25 point a game a night guy. I don't know so much if that would be the case with LeBron, Luka, and if they keep Austin Reeves, but I still think he's probably a 15 at least minimum game guy. But 44 games played, which was actually the most of his career. But 44 games played, 41 started. He played 26.6 minutes per game, shot 10.2 attempts, right? 60.4% from the floor, which was actually his fewest this season. But from three-point range, like I said, he's not a guy that's taking volume to give you anything. He took 0.1 attempts, but he has shown the ability. It's just something that needs to be worked on. It's not like, you see some guys where you're like, that guy's never going to be a 3-point shooting threat. Like, Mark Williams has the ability to move out. Like, it's not something I would trust him to do this. Like, if the Lakers trade for him, have him do it this season. But you could see as he progresses that could end up being a thing. So just something to kind of keep in mind. But 61% from 2-point range, EFG of 60.4%, shot 80.4% from the free throw line on 3.7 attempts. So great free throw shooter. 10.2 rebounds, including 3 offensive rebounds, 2.5 assists, a steal, 1.5 blocks, and 15.3 points per game. And if you look at his per 36, which again doesn't tell you everything, but he's a 21, 14, 3.5, a steal, and 2 block per game type center. So again, he's a guy that can give you a little bit of everything out there on the basketball court. So he's a guy that I do think makes a lot of sense for the Lakers, that if the Lakers can pull that off and they can make that work, and they can end up getting Mark Williams, I'm still all for Mark Williams, right? Go get me Mark Williams. And Charlotte's going to have to make a decision. He's going to be on a contract year. Like, how many teams need a starting center? I mean, obviously, like the Warriors, but like outside of them, how many teams need a starting center? And maybe they work some type of sign and trade out with like Jonathan Kuminga or something. That could be a possibility. But outside of that, I still think the Lakers are probably the team that he ends up landing on if they end up pulling that off. But we'll see. Again, I imagine Lakers are still going to try to make that move. And if you're the Lakers, again, you have to at least pick up the phone. You have to at least initiate that conversation. Worst thing they do is just go, hang up or tell you to go F yourself. Like, at the end of the day, it's your job, right? But let me know your thoughts and opinions. As always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear it down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos. I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.